Okay, so somebody DM'd me this week and said, Bruno, I don't have enough money to invest. And look, I get it. I really do. But here's the thing nobody tells you. You've been picturing investing wrong this whole time. You're picturing a guy in a suit yelling, sell into three phones at once. That's not it. That's not it at all. Today, we're talking about how $10 gets you started, actually started. Not someday started, not once things calm down started. Started. Let's get into it. So, a few years back, a group of friends decided they wanted to take a trip together. Nothing fancy, just a long weekend, split a cabin, that kind of thing. And they set up one of those shared group chats, Vacation Fund 2025. Everybody throws money in when they can. Now, one guy, let's call him the planner of the group, he throws in $10 that same week, doesn't think twice about it, doesn't wait for a sign. The others say, oh, I'll add money once I get my bonus, or once things calm down at work, or my personal favorite, once I actually have real money to put in. Weeks go by. The planner keeps adding $10 here, 20 there, whenever he's got it lying around. Doesn't feel like a sacrifice. Doesn't even really register. Meanwhile, the other three are still in the group chat, posting motivational gifs about how they're definitely starting soon. Guess what happened? By the time the trip rolled around, the planner had covered his whole share without even feeling it. The other three? Still in the group chat going, wait, how much do I owe again? Scrambling. Borrowing from the fourth guy at the last minute. Somebody had to sell concert tickets they were saving for. It was a whole thing. A completely avoidable whole thing. Here's what you do with that. The money you have right now is the real money. There's no future version of you with more discipline and a bigger paycheck who's suddenly going to start. That version of you doesn't exist yet. And honestly, he might never show up. He's been arriving soon for other people for years. The person who starts with $10 today beats the person who's still waiting until they have more 5 years from now. Every single time. Not most times. Every time. $10 today beats 100 someday. Say that one twice because we're going to need it later. All right, practical time, because I'm not just here to hype you up and leave you hanging. That's the whole point of this channel. Here's the thing that's changed and that a lot of people genuinely don't know. You used to need real money to buy a share of a company. Like one single share of some big name company could run you hundreds of dollars, sometimes more. That's part of why the you need to be rich to invest idea stuck around so long. It used to actually be true. You'd need a real chunk of change just to get in the door. It's not true anymore. Most investing apps today let you buy fractional shares, meaning you don't have to buy the whole share, you just buy a piece of it. Think of it like ordering pizza with a group. You don't need to buy the whole pizza to get a slice. You throw in your $10, you get handed your slice, and that slice is still legitimately actually yours. Nobody's giving you a fake slice because you didn't pay for the whole pie. Same deal with a fractional share. You own a real, actual piece of that company or that fund, proportional to what you put in. $10 in a $100 share just means you own a tenth of it. That's it. That's the whole trick that nobody explained. You don't need the whole pie, just grab a slice and let it multiply. That's the mechanism. Now let's talk about where that $10 should actually go, because buy a slice of a company isn't quite the full plan, and picking the wrong slice is how people talk themselves out of the whole thing. Here's the part nobody explains, and it's genuinely not complicated once someone just says it plainly instead of dancing around it for 20 minutes on a finance show. Step one, pick a brokerage app with no account minimum and fractional shares. Most major ones offer this now. You're looking for zero minimum to open, zero minimum to keep investing, and fractional share support. That's the entire checklist. Takes about 10 minutes to set up, same as setting up any other app on your phone. You're not signing up for a bank vault in a movie, you're downloading an app. Step two, for your first $10, look at a broad index fund or ETF, not a single company stock. Quick, no jargon explanation of what that actually means. Instead of betting on one company doing well, you're buying a tiny slice of hundreds of companies at once, all bundled together. If one has a bad year, it doesn't sink you because you're not depending on just that one. It's the financial version of not putting all your eggs in one basket, except in this case, there is no basket. There's just a really well diversified pizza. I'm losing the metaphor. Moving on. Step three, automate it. Set up a recurring transfer, even if it's just $10 a week or $10 a month. So it happens whether you remember or not. whether you're having a good week or a bad one. This is the same principle from the snowball episode. You give it a push, and then you let the system do the pushing for you after that. Willpower is unreliable. Motivation shows up and leaves like it's got somewhere better to be. Automation doesn't care how you're feeling, it just runs. Step 4, leave it alone. I know, I say this every episode, but checking your $10 investment every day is like checking on a plant every hour to see if it's grown. It hasn't, you just disturbed the soil for nothing. Stop looking. Let it do its thing in the background of your life. Quick story, because this explains why step 3 and step 4 matter more than people think. You know someone, maybe it's you, no judgment, this is a safe space, who signed up for a gym membership in January, went 4 times with a lot of enthusiasm, and then just quietly stopped. The membership kept charging every month. The person kept meaning to go back. Next week for sure. That went on for 8 months before they finally canceled. Now flip that story. Somebody else signs up for the same gym, but they don't rely on motivation at all. They just block out the same 20 minutes, same 3 days a week on their calendar, like a meeting they can't skip. Some days they don't feel like it. They go anyway, because it's already decided it's not up for debate that day. A year later, one person has a stack of unused monthly charges and a mild sense of guilt. The other person has a habit that runs itself. Investing $10 works exactly the same way. The people who succeed with this aren't the ones who feel the most excited about investing. Excitement fades by week 3, guaranteed. The people who succeed are the ones who made it automatic enough that it doesn't require feeling anything at all. It just happens, the same way rent gets paid whether you're in a good mood or not. Set it and stop relying on your future self to be more disciplined than your current self. Your future self is busy, automate around him. Let's knock out the objections, because I already know what's rattling around in some of your heads right now. But $10 isn't going to make me rich. Correct, $10 alone won't. But $10 this week, and $10 next week, and $10 the week after that, that's not $10 anymore. That's a habit. And habits compound. Money you never started never grows at all, which is a much bigger problem than money that grows slowly. Slow and started beats fast and imaginary. Isn't the stock market just gambling? A single company's stock picked because your cousin gave you a hot tip at barbecue? That's got some gambling energy to it, sure, I won't lie to you. A broad index fund holding hundreds of companies, held for years, added to slowly and consistently, never touched during the scary weeks. That's not a slot machine. That's closer to planting something and giving it actual time to grow. Which again, I promise, is the last plant metaphor of the episode. Probably. It's too complicated. There's too much to learn. You just heard the entire beginner plan in 4 steps. Open account, buy broad index fund, automate it, leave it alone. That's genuinely most of it. The complicated sounding stuff, the ratios, the technical analysis, the guy yelling about candlestick patterns on TV at 6 a.m., that's not the beginner plan. That's a whole different game most people don't need to play at all, ever, in their entire lives, unless they specifically want to. What if I invest and then the market drops right after? It might. It genuinely might, and I'm not going to pretend otherwise. Here's the thing, though. A drop only actually costs you money if you panic and pull it back out. If you leave it alone and keep adding your $10 on schedule, a drop just means your next $10 buys a slightly bigger slice than it did last week. That's not a disaster. That's a sale. Most people just haven't been told to think of it that way. And hey, quick honest disclaimer, because I'd rather say this than not. I'm a stick figure with no face giving you general information, not a licensed financial advisor giving you personal advice. Different people have different situations, different goals, different timelines. This is the beginner blueprint, not a guarantee, and not a substitute for looking at your own specific situation. Do with that what you will. Real quick, let me put a number on why small and early beats big and late, because it's more dramatic than people expect, and this is the part that actually explains why all of this works. Say you invest $10 a week, that's about $40 a month. Not life-changing money. Doesn't feel like much when you're doing it. It's the same as one coffee run you decided to skip. But left alone in the market over a long stretch of time, compounding on itself, meaning the growth starts growing its own growth. That steady small habit can genuinely turn into a real, meaningful number over the years. Not because $10 is magic, because time is doing most of the actual work quietly in the background while you're doing literally anything else with your life. And here's the part that should actually annoy people a little. The person who starts at $10 a week in their 20s and then stops adding more will often end up ahead of the person who waits until their 30s to start seriously, even if that second person eventually puts in way more money overall. The early years aren't doing less work, they're doing the most work because they've got the most time left to compound. The earlier that money starts moving, the longer the runway, and the runway is the one part of this whole plan that's working for you around the clock without you lifting a finger. That's the part nobody explains. It's not about the size of the start, it's about the size of the runway. So here's the whole thing one more time, because repetition is how habits actually form. You don't need a windfall, you don't need a bonus, you don't need to get serious about money someday when life calms down. You need $10, a no minimum account, a broad fund, and an automation setting you turn on once and then never think about again. $10 today beats 100 someday. You don't need the whole pie. Just grab a slice and let it multiply. If this actually helped you figure out where to start, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one, and drop a comment telling me what stopped you from investing until now. I read every single one, and honestly, your excuse is probably the same one I had. Let's fix it together. See you next time.